It should make our country proud that there will be representation at the highest office that represents who we are as a diverse people.
One of the things we must realize is that Black women have arrived.
Black women in particular, that women in general are ready to get information for this woman. Biden just ensured that he will have maximum turnout from African Americans.
Apparently, no one is more excited about the Biden-Harris ticket than Joy Reid. But is she right that that will actually unify the black vote? Here to respond is Cynthia Garrett, founder of Cynthia Garrett Ministries and author of I Choose Victory. And Dinesh D'Souza, conservative commentator whose new film, Trump Card, will be released on video on demand in September. Also with me, Horace Cooper, Project 21 co-chair, author of How Trump is Making Black America Great Again. Cynthia, Joy Reid said Biden will have maximum African-American turnout, especially among women. Your response?
Yeah. This is a tough one, Laura, and you know why. First of all, I'm a woman. I believe in the sisterhood of the traveling pants. I want to support women. I'm a Black woman. This is a great day that my nieces can look at another Black woman and go, wow, I can do that too. But that's where the comparisons stop for me. It's where the line's drawn. I just don't believe in any of this woman's policies or politics. So for Joy Reid to say, and I think her quote was, there will be a wall of Black women lined up to support this candidate, is almost as bad and offensive as Biden saying, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. Because here's the reality, Laura. I mean, women, African-American women have a lot of faith. Okay, my heart is ministry. You know that. You know, I started in TV. My love is ministry. I'm a unifier. I'm a healer. But in reality, if you're a Christian and you really are trying to live your life in accordance with your faith, then your voting habits change. And that's how this hippie chick looked up and went, oh my goodness, how did I get to be a conservative, voting Republican? So when I look at Kamala Harris, she just doesn't line up with anything I believe in. Her stand on education completely ignores the fact that these constituents of Black people that she's supposed to have overwhelmingly want school choice. Christians, African-American Christian women, don't wholesale believe in abortion. I mean, there's just one thing after the next that I'm happy to see a Black woman not be invisible. I just wish it was a different Black woman.
Yeah, I understand. Horace, the last poll, I believe, done during the primary season, Kamala Harris polled lower than Elizabeth Warren among Black voters. Okay, this was toward the end of November 2019. So they just leapfrogged over Bernie and Warren because of race, because you had to pick African, well, she's not African, but you had to pick a woman of color. So just leapfrogged over the other two. So what about this? We're going to get all these Black votes when she polled so low. And why was she polling so low?
Black Americans are increasingly demonstrating that they are centrist. They are more moderate. One of the reasons that Joe Biden ended up getting nominated was because in South Carolina, a large number of Black Americans said, hey, let's look around here. Who can we pick from? And they picked with the guy that, guess what? He has rejected all of that, and he has picked a running mate that for many Black Americans, it's going to be a problem. You have to apologize to far-left whack jobs with you when you look at her platform. The issue here is all voters, Black, white, or brown, they're looking for who's going to improve employment, who's going to put more money in their checking account. It doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat. And the issue we see here is there doesn't appear to be any selection made for a running mate to send that signal, that centrist signal. No. And this election, I think Black voters are going to be far more critical to the outcome of the election than we've seen in a while.
All right, Dinesh, Kamala Harris also, she was quick to condemn the hate crime against Jussie Smollett that turned out to be, of course, totally fake. Here's how she reacted when a reporter confronted her about it.
Would you like to make an amendment to your original sentiment?
Which tweet? What tweet?
About saying that it is a modern-day lynching, that...
Sorry.
Yes, Jussie Smollett.
I think that the facts are still unfolding. It's something we should all take seriously.
Dinesh, why couldn't she just say that she jumped the gun?
Because it's difficult in this world of identity politics to say you made an honest mistake. It kind of takes away from the narrative that they try to push behind these bogus racial incidents. Identity politics is what Biden is up to here. He wanted to get a woman, and now he's gotten kind of a twofer, someone who's a woman and also supposedly African American. But if you're going to play identity politics, then two can play at that game. It's been pointed out, of course, that her mom is Asian Indian. What I want to point out is that African American, in the American context, generally means having a direct relationship to the experiences of slavery and segregation and Jim Crow and so on. Very interestingly, Kamala Harris's father, Donald, a Stanford professor, wrote an article in a Jamaican magazine several years ago claiming, in fact, sort of boasting, that he was descended from the largest slave owner in Jamaica, one of the largest slave owners in Jamaica, a fellow named Hamilton Brown. The point I want to make, the reason this is interesting is because there's been this effort in the Democratic Party and on the left to eradicate all connections to the slave plantation. And the point I'm trying to make is that Kamala Harris seems to be descended less from the legacy of, let's say, Frederick Douglass than she is from the legacy of the plantation itself.
Wow. That is fascinating, and I know a lot of people haven't heard that before, Dinesh. And Cynthia, look, it is in many ways for a lot of people exciting. You know, a woman of color, and we want all people of all colors and ethnicities to do their best and be their best, regardless of race, and have no barriers. We all want that. Everyone wants that. That's a great thing, but. What about this? What about this idea that because she's a woman of color, she has to get the black vote? And if you don't vote for her, you're voting against your self-interest. And you'd heard what Dinesh just said about her own ancestry. I mean, I haven't personally verified that, but, you know.
Yeah. Laura, that's what bothers me about the mob mentality that we're employing against each other as people of color. You know, look, in my own personal social circles, you deal with a lot of abuse if you don't agree with everyone else. And I just don't understand that, because intelligence would want you to celebrate that other people think independently and think intelligently for themselves. And so I just can't embrace that Kamala Harris's blackness and femaleness is going to erase my dislike of Joe Biden as a candidate. He is a racist from the early 70s. Look, you guys have covered it. Everybody knows it. You can read congressional records from 1974, words out of his own mouth about busing and integration. And the relationship that he had with James Oliver Eastland disgusts me to this day, because that's the man that led, that was with McClellan, who destroyed my father's banking empire, who black people are so proud of. My dad, there's a film, The Banker, celebrates my father, the first black man to own white banks in America. Well, guess what? It was McClellan and Eastland and those guys who helped put Biden where he is today, who went after him because he was a black man who owned banks in Texas and was trying to help white men.
All right, a lot to digest there, but boy, we're going to have a lot of time to do all this. Cynthia, Dinesh, Horace, thank you so much.